Hey everybody, welcome to the Steelers show. I am Joe. I think is out this week, but we got Paul with us. Paul, how you doing?
Ooh, I'm ready for football.
Yeah, it is very strange. I mean, I know we've had preseason for a while. I know it's the calendar is September, but it still doesn't feel like football truly yet. But I'm looking forward to it. Should be good.
Yep,
I
it's I never want the summer to end, but if it is always nice to have the Steelers back on.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm busier this year because I know in the past I've been kind of depressed during that week or two where you just have college football. But this time has flown by, and I'm like going, my goodness. I mean, we're doing this on Wednesday night. The season starts tomorrow with the Chiefs Lions game. So, yeah, it's coming quicker than we feel. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And, hey, I think we're kind of optimistic about the Steelers this year, which makes it even more fun, I would say.
Yep.
All right. Well, here's where it gets controversial. We feel bad. Joe has been busy. I think he's got a play he's been dealing with. We don't have a record from him, but I'm sure Joe will give that to us. But this is our scheduled game night, I guess, where we go week by schedule. We give our picks. It kind of got controversial last year. I was under the radar. I must have been feeling really good that night. I had the Steelers going 12-5, which looked really ridiculous because there was a time where they were 1-6. I'm like, my goodness, I don't know a thing. But they did a lot better as the season went on. But man, I'm a little nervous about this, Paul. I mean, we've got reason to be hopeful for, but I don't want to give a 16-1 record and look bad. So I'm. You probably have your record in mind, right?
I
But
do have a record in mind.
I don't, and you're gonna have to walk me through this. I'm optimistic, but I'm a little gun shy about going too crazy tonight. So we'll walk me through this, and it should be good. We're going to take a little extra time on the first week. We probably should have done the schedule game last week, but we're a couple days before the season, so we're kind of trying to preview the San Francisco 49ers game also. So we'll do the other weeks quick, but week one, let's take a little bit more time with this. Paul, let me tell you what I know about the 49ers. Maybe you heard something also, too. Nick Bosa, one of the big questions about the 49ers this year. Nick Bosa was in a holdout. That holdout's gone. He signed a
Yep.
contract. I think it was like 5 year, 170 million, 120 guaranteed. Tomlin was asked about in the press conference. We don't know for sure what this means for Sunday. From what I understand, Bosa's been working out. It's not like he's just been sitting on the couch, so he could probably play. I'm not sure if he's 100%. I'm not sure if he's going to play a ton, but I think we'll see Nick Bosa on Sunday. Have you heard anything about Brock Purdy?
No, I have not.
Some people think he's still a little bit banged up. I'm going to check Twitter. I may have heard wrong. I remember he ended up last year in the NFC title game with a crazy injury, and he was back, but some people said, is he really back or not? Let's see so we can talk semi-intelligently about this. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, they say he's healthy. They say he's playing. He also got named the captain for the year. Let's talk about Brock Purdy. I think Purdy had a good stretch for the 49ers. The 49ers have a really good running game. So I don't think Purdy threw for a ton of yards for the 49ers. I think where he looked good was he was a turnover machine. He kept he handled the ball well for the 49ers. They didn't turn the ball over, and that's what really got him in the NFC title game. I'll tell you, Paul, all the people who are a little bit nervous about Kenny Pickett. I mean, if you're nervous about Kenny Pickett, Brock Purdy you should be very nervous about. He's only played half a year. And, I think that's going to be the issue for the 49ers this year with Brock Purdy. What is happening with him? He didn't turn the ball over, and I think if he continues not to turn the ball over, I think the 49ers will be okay. But are you putting all your hope, your faith, your confidence in Brock Purdy? I don't know if you should. I'm not sure if that's a necessarily good idea for the 49ers. So you got some questions on the 49ers. You got questions about Brock Purdy. You got questions about Nick Bosa. The Steelers come to this game, they look good. They had good preseason. Their offense looked good. Their defense looked good. But you're facing a really tough opponent. Um, I think this week's going to be a great test for the team in trying to figure out how's their run defense. San Francisco's got a really good running game. Can the Steelers defense hang tough against the run? If they can hold the 49ers to like third and 10s, 11s, if they make it hard for them to get the third downs, I think they're good in shape. If San Francisco gets a running game on track, it might be a little bit more difficult. So I'm really intrigued. It's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a test for the Steelers to see how well they can do. Can they bounce back? Can they do well? I don't know. So I'm really curious to see what ends up happening there with the Steelers, especially during this game. Paul is away for a second. We'll see when he comes back. But as we're waiting for Paul, let's continue to talk about this game upcoming. Nick Bosa, I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to play against the Steelers. I think one other question I have about this game is what's going on with Nick Bosa? Some people were saying with Broderick Jones starting at left tackle. If he started left tackle, his first game opponent's going to be Nick Bosa. Could that be hard for Broderick Jones? I know a lot of people have questions about Dan Moore. I know he kind of gets no love, but Dan Moore has always played some of the tougher sack guys in the NFL well. He's always looked good against guys like Myles Garrett and other people like that. So I think Dan Moore can do a pretty good job with Nick Bosa, but that's going to be a really big question for the 49ers on Sunday. I think also another thing you got to figure out, Javon Hargrave. Hargrave looked very good for Philadelphia last year, and he since went to San Francisco. What does Javon Hargrave bring to the 49ers? If he has a season like he did for San Francisco last year, with San Francisco, he was with Philadelphia last year, man, that really adds a lot to the San Francisco defense. I think the 49ers are going to give the Steelers a little bit of a hard time when the Steelers are on offense. I have a feeling that this game is going to be, I don't know, I would say maybe like a 13-10, 16-13 game. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be tight. I don't think there'll be a lot of scoring in it. I think it's going to take the Steelers a little bit of time to adjust to. I mean, San Francisco and Pittsburgh could be the two best defenses in the NFL. So I wouldn't expect necessarily a ton of offensive fireworks in this game. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult. Paul's back with us. Paul, overview of what I was talking about. I've got some questions about this game. I think Brock Purdy had a really good stretch for San Francisco last year. Mm-hmm. I don't look at Brock Purdy as that franchise quarterback. I think he was a guy that, to his credit, didn't turn the ball over. And I think that's what made him look good. Yep. He got banged up. Twitter's saying he's healthy. But I think Brock Purdy has a lot to prove. I mean, if you're out there questioning Kenny Pickett, I think you should really be questioning Brock Purdy because he's got like a 9-game stretch of good play in his name, and that's about it.
Well, I think he's one of those guys who is greatly benefiting from an amazing team around him. Great defense, incredible offensive weapons. It's easy to look good when you've got those kinds of weapons. So, I mean, I'm not saying he's great, not saying he's bad. Obviously, as not a Niners fan, I don't spend a lot of time watching Brock Purdy. But yeah, I think there's still more than likely a question mark that hangs over him to see if he can carry over into this year what he was accomplishing last year.
When you're a guy that threw this out there, I think Pittsburgh and San Francisco, I think you can make an argument. I think it's safe to say they're both in the top 5 defenses in the NFL. I think you can make an argument that maybe they're 1 and 2 in the league. Would you say that?
Yeah, definitely a top 5. I'd have to think about who else might be in those 1 and 2 spots, but yeah, they're definitely top 5.
So I think this game, and you can make the same argument the other way with Kenny Pickett. who makes those turnovers? I mean, I can see. I've got Pittsburgh in this game, and I'll give you the score in a minute too. But I think this game it's going to come down to a turnover thing, and if I think Brock Purdy could be effective, he doesn't turn the ball over. I don't see him carving up the Steelers defense, but if he can, even if he throws for like 150, 200 yards, if he doesn't turn the ball over, he gives San Francisco a chance. I think the other thing that's going to be really, really key to this game, I think Pittsburgh's pass rush looks amazing this year. We're seeing signs that their run defense is good. I like to see it during the season to make sure it's okay. And I think you're going to get tested. San Francisco's got a good running game. And I think a really big key to this game on Sunday is can the Steelers put the 49ers in like third and longs? If San Francisco is getting like third and threes and third and four and third and twos, I think they can pick them up. So, I mean, I think and they're not going to totally shut down the running game, but if the Steelers can kind of hold the running game in check, it's going to go a long way to helping them out.
Yeah, last year was kind of an anomaly because overall, the past few seasons, Steelers have done really well against the run. I think especially when T.J. Watt is healthy, that gives a lot more freedom for the rest of the defense to focus. And so I know you've got Christian McCaffrey, probably one of the best running backs in the league. But I like the Steelers' ability to shut that down and keep that from exploding. So if you do that, and then you're putting more pressure on Purdy to get the job done, I think everything is showing this. The Niners are, I think, 2.5-point favorites. NFL.com has it a 2-point game. So this could be a really good game. And considering that the Niners are probably heading in as one of the favorites to make a good playoff run, even if the Steelers fall short in this game, if they can make a battle out of this, I think that's going to give us a good sign for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if the Steelers can totally shut down the running game. I mean, I think McCaffrey's good enough. They're going to get some decent runs on the Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
I think the big thing...
He's not going to put up 150, 200 yards.
Well, if he puts 150, 200, Steelers lose, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I just... If they can keep overall in check, and if more of the time it's third and 11s and third and twos, I think that's going to be the deep key. What was the other thing we were talking about? I think for the Steelers offense, I feel better about them after the preseason. I think this is going to be a little bit of a slog for them on Sunday. I've got the Steelers winning like 13-10, 16-13. I don't necessarily see them putting up a lot of points. I think there's going to be times it's going to be a struggle. And I wouldn't get off the Kenny Pickett hype train. San Francisco's a really good defense. I mean, I mean, Pickett might be playing well to put 16 points up on San Francisco. That's how good their defense is. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's how I'm kind of feeling about that. It's interesting, Nick Bosa's back. I'm not sure if he's going to play a lot. I think he's going to play some. But, Dan Moore, we all like to beat Dan Moore up, but Dan Moore's played good against some good defensive line rushers. He's always looked good against guys like Myles Garrett and everything. And again, I don't think he's going to totally neutralize Nick Bosa. But if Nick Bosa doesn't become a major story, like if you're watching the game going, dang, why does Nick Bosa have 10 sacks in the first quarter? I mean, I think that's what Dan Moore needs to do. I mean, Bosa may have a sack or two, but just mostly neutralize him, I think, is what the Steelers need. And that's going to be another key in the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, likewise, on the flip side, you have an even bigger threat in T.J. Watt and then Highsmith on the other side. If they can put good pressure on Purdy, that's going to help neutralize that. But yeah, I'm actually putting my money where my mouth is here. I've got the Steelers winning 17-14. It's not always going to look pretty. But a lot of that is assuming that Matt Canada doesn't revert to the exact same play calling we've seen for the past couple of seasons. So that's the big asterisk that assuming that we're seeing some variety like we saw in the preseason, I think we can we can pull this one off. It might be a late come from behind win, but I think we can pull this off.
The only other guy, and I'm not scared of him. I'm just curious to see how he plays. Javon Hargrave took a huge step when he left Pittsburgh. I mean, he was a monster for Philadelphia last year. He's now in San Francisco, and hopefully they can do a better job on him. Hargrave was destroying the Steelers when the Eagles played the Steelers last year, and it's the same guy. Mason Cole is going to be defending him. So again, you can't totally shut these guys down, but Hargrave can't be a huge story. Like if the announcer's like, "Oh my gosh, Hargrave's going crazy," that might be a bad sign. Now again, what difference a year makes? I'm not saying Hargrave's going to go nuts, but it's just things that this could go sideways if they don't do that. I mean, it's going to be a big test. I mean, and still, these guys for the Steelers haven't played together that much. So yeah, the preseason looked good. There might be some shaky grounds. This might be a place where they have that. But man, it's gonna be a big test to see how the defensive lines, the offensive lines, how much better they are. And again,
there's a lot about this that reminds me of the Buffalo game from 2 years ago. I think it was opened up against Buffalo, and Buffalo, they were going to make that Super Bowl run. I was like, there's no way we're going to compete with Buffalo, and we came up strong. I feel like the 49ers, if they overlook the Steelers at all, if they don't take them seriously, that could haunt them pretty badly.
Well, and I think it's going to be close, and I'm not even guaranteeing a Steelers win. San Francisco could win by 3 or 7. If it's tight, believe me, San Francisco's a good team. Yeah, I want the Steelers to be 1-0, but if they lose a close one, I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world. It's going to be frustrating, but it won't be everything. Don't be surprised. Now, if we see this happen, we should be starting to print Super Bowl tickets. But look, Brock Purdy didn't play a ton in the preseason. He was kind of banged up. We're not sure Brock Purdy's the answer. Man, if they get Brock Purdy into a turnover too early, this could be a blowout. I mean, possible. Let's see. But, if the Steelers – and again, the Steelers look great in the preseason. They're not going to be the Chiefs all year. I mean, obviously, Kenny Pickett, not every drive is going to end up in a touchdown. But if they start out strong, like if Kenny Pickett isn't Mahomes, but is like, dang, he's carving up the 49ers, this could be a blowout. I will say where I'm going to get ticked off is if they go into this game and 49ers won by 30. I mean, that's where I'm going to come back and be like, what's going on here? But I think a close game would not be surprising either way. I'd say the Steelers win because it's at home. I wouldn't be shocked if they lose. I'd be shocked if they lose by a ton. If they win by a ton, man, Paul, might be time to really start partying. So,
wouldn't go that far. I don't foresee a blowout on our end. I mean, if things just blow up, I could see the 49ers routing the Steelers, but I don't necessarily see the Steelers routing the Niners.
Here's what I think. If the Steelers can get early touchdown or two, Brock Purdy's not a comeback guy, and I don't think the Steelers' run defense is bad at all. But, man, that pass defense, I mean, they've shored up their cornerbacks. You look at – I mean, I love the fact they kept Shadon Sullivan and who's that? Elijah Riley, who looked really good in the preseason. I love the fact that in addition to that, we talked about that fourth cornerback. Who are they going to get? Desmond King isn't Deion Sanders, but Desmond King's for a fourth cornerback, he's fine. I mean, I think they did good in picking a fourth cornerback in him. Man, Paul, if San Francisco's guys start throwing, I don't think Brady can lead a huge comeback. I mean, it could get ugly in that situation because, man, that pass rush, assuming these guys stay healthy, the pass rush could be scary. I read something, Paul, it was interesting. People were like, well, you got Watt, you got Highsmith, and now you got two really solid backups in Golden and Herbig after having that incredible preseason. And they're like, okay, so when are Golden and Herbig going to play? one of the coaches was like, what if all 3 or 4 of them played on a pass rush down? And I'm sitting there like, whoa, that could be great. So I think the Steelers can be exotic enough where, man, I'd like to see Purdy try to throw his way back in the game. I mean, if it's close, it's going to be scary. But San Francisco can put together a long drive. Purdy doesn't usually turn the ball over. But, man, if he gets 1 or 2 early turnovers, this could get ugly. I mean, I know San Francisco is a good team, but, this pass rush, man, it could be scary. And I think back to what happened, not just the Buffalo game from 2 years ago, but that Cincinnati game. I mean, before T.J. Watt got hurt, you remember the stuff they were doing. I mean, they were harassing Burrow and everything. If it wasn't for the fact the offense wasn't doing anything, I mean, that's really why Cincinnati got back in that game. I mean, the defense was just destroying them before they just got tired when the offense couldn't do anything. So, I don't know. So you're saying 17-14.
Yep.
I tend to agree. 13-10, 16-13, somewhere in that vein. And again, don't be shocked if it's 17-14 the other way, in my opinion.
Yep.
How confident are you feeling of the Steelers win in this?
62%.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. 70 is too high. I wasn't really thinking 62, but maybe like 60 or something like that. All right, Paul, this is scary. We're already in 22 minutes, and we got 16 games to go into. So obviously, we're not going to we'll break down each game as it comes closer the week before. But let's start talking about the rest of the year. So, in essence, we both have the Steelers 1-0 after week 1. Man, week 2. And again, let's not break these down too much. They're home against Cleveland on Monday Night Football. I will tell you, I might be a little bit nervous about this game if this was in Cleveland. I just don't think the Browns have the talent. Steelers win. The Browns may have a better defense from what I hear, but overall, Steelers are a better team. Let's don't pick scores. We'll just say win-loss. I say Pittsburgh wins that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I think Steelers win. I'll give a score 21-14.
Oh, maybe we should say like the spread. Like, do they win by 7 or 100? I feel much better that the game's on Monday night. It could be, I don't want to say 30 or 40, but I would say maybe 2 scores.
Mm.
Yeah, Cleveland's not terrible, but I don't think they're at the point where they're going to do a lot, especially earlier in the year on the road. So, all right, what's pulling up my Steelers schedule on another computer?
At Las Vegas.
Yeah, at Las Vegas. Man, this game actually has been a little bit nervous. Las Vegas isn't a great team, but sometimes Pittsburgh has hiccups on the road. I think it's going to be a lot closer than we're comfortable with. I say they win because they play well at night, and it's a Sunday night game. Maybe they win by a field goal, but I think the Steelers win.
I actually think this will be a solid win. I think 2 touchdowns.
Okay. I think the Steelers are a better team. The road games kind of make me nervous. Now,
and turnovers could be a big part of that. Maybe
right.
a make pick 6 or something. So I think there could be some defensive scoring involved as well.
Paul and I are going to disagree on this one. They go on the road to play Houston. I like C.J. Stroud. I like his faith. I like his backstory. I think C.J. Stroud's got the potential to be a decent quarterback. What frustrates me with the Texans is I don't think he's got anyone to throw to. I was talking to Craig on an earlier podcast tonight. You look at a team like Carolina, I'm not totally sold on Bryce Young, but at least they brought in like a Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen. He's got some veterans to kind of help ease his way. I don't really see that in Houston, which kind of makes me nervous about Stroud. I think this is a 2-3 touchdown game. I think Stroud's going to be okay. I just don't think there's anybody to throw to. And it has nowhere near the top of the team that really challenge the Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers defense is going to eat him up. I'm with you. It's going to be a 2-touchdown game.
Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. Now, the Steelers start of the year is pretty nice, so we're going to come up with a lot of wins here, but it might change at the end of the year. They host Baltimore. I'm not feeling Baltimore this year. I know they're going to try to get Lamar Jackson throwing the ball more. And, Baltimore doesn't have the defense they had last year. I think Lamar can throw the ball. If I'm Baltimore, I don't want Lamar Jackson throwing it 40, 45 times a game. Pittsburgh wins. It's one score. These games are always close, but I think Pittsburgh's better, especially since it's at home.
Yeah, these games will always be ugly and tight, no matter how good or bad either team is. But I just feel like, coming off the 4-game win streak here to start the season, I think Baltimore is going to inch this one out by a field goal.
Oh, that's not good. All right, Steelers go on the road to play the Rams. I hate saying Tomlin's special because I think Tomlin's improved him better than that. I just don't see them losing to the Rams. They still got Matt Stafford, they still got Aaron Donald, they got a banged up Cooper Kupp, but they've got 3 or 4 real strong guys and 50 really undetermined guys. And the Steelers have had the capacity of losing on the road. I just don't think the Rams are good enough to even surprise them. Steelers win. Maybe it's closer. Maybe it's a touchdown, but they win.
Yeah, Rams are kind of a question mark for me. I mean, going from Super Bowl champions to they were a bit of a hot mess last year. But I think they're still a formidable team. But I do think Steelers will pull it out by a field goal.
Now, Paul's was starting to scare me. I got him at 6-0, and suddenly we're going down the same path we went last year. I know the team's much better than we were last year, and this is what scares me. So I'm going to be conservative here. They host Jacksonville. I still don't get Jacksonville. I know they're better. I know Trevor Lawrence has gotten better. I don't know. I mean, I've seen people pick them to be the Super Bowl team off the AFC, and the AFC is too loaded. I think Jacksonville's going to be good. I'm not sure how good they are, but Paul, I got to calm down. I'm going to have the Steelers being 11-0. So we got to lose one of these. It's going to frustrate me the week after. I say to lose by 3 or 7 to Jacksonville. I mean, I can't pick them to win every game. So I guess if they lose here.
Yeah, I think that's wise of you to calm down a little bit. Jacksonville is a good team. I think they're on the upswing. I do think, as much as I hate to say it, I think they're going to win by 10.
Okay. Next game, they host Tennessee. Is that a Thursday night game? Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, I hate Thursday night games. I am not sold on Tennessee. Every time they play him, we're like, oh, Derrick Henry, he's going to be a problem. And, I know they got DeAndre Hopkins too, but DeAndre Hopkins not like he used to be. It's at night. Thursday night games, the Steelers don't always do well. But Tennessee's not that great. I say they win this one. We'll say one score, either 3 or 7.
I'm going to take a leap. I think this is going to be our biggest win of the season so far. I think this is like maybe even a 3-touchdown win.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, this is like maybe Trubisky's in for the last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah. Tennessee's got a lot of questions. Like Ryan Tannehill's kind of gone down a little bit more recently. Is he that guy? Malik Willis has actually looked somewhat decent in the preseason. I'm not sure if they're willing to turn the tide over to him, and
No.
I'm not sure if I would either. And then they got the kid from Kentucky, and I don't know how he's looking. I've heard some good things and some bad things about him, so who knows? They host Green Bay. Green Bay is interesting. you know, Aaron Rodgers was a guy a couple years ago. You got Jordan Love. I'm hearing Jordan Love's not terrible. It's at Pittsburgh. I don't know, man. I know Zach Wilson beat them last year with the Jets. I just don't see Jordan Love. I don't see Pittsburgh kills them, but I don't see Jordan Love just waltzing in and, winning this game. I think the Steelers win this.
Yeah, I think I think Love will be good, but I think it's going to be a bit of a process. I mean, now that I know he's been in the league for a while, but now having the full reins, trying to figure out the team around him, I think the Steelers will take this one as well.
Okay, Paul, again, we're getting under a dangerous path. They really don't have a tough. Let's take a step back for a second.
They have an easy schedule.
Yeah, I've got them 8-1. You've got them right now at 7-2. The initial talk was, hey, they got to make hay at the beginning of the year because they got a tougher schedule coming up. Where are we seeing this, Paul? I'm not seeing it. Are you?
Because they end with 3 tough games to finish the season. I think that's where it's coming from.
All right, so I'm getting kind of scary here. At Cleveland, yeah, I'm biased. I don't want to ever see them lose to Cleveland. I just don't think I'm going to pick a couple road losses for division games, and they've lost to Cleveland from time to time. I just don't. I don't see it happening this year, and I know for them the rivalry. I don't think the players get as charged up for the rivalry. I think they care about division games. I don't think they hate the Browns as much as like we do. I don't see the Browns overtaking the Steelers even in one game. Let's say it's going to be closer, maybe a 1-score game, but I don't see the Steelers losing the Browns with as much stuff as they have this year.
Okay. I think in Cleveland, Week 11, I think Watson's getting his feet back under him. It'll be maybe a last-second field goal, but it'll be like a 1-point game maybe. But I think the Browns are going to sneak away with one here.
Wow. Paul, what are you doing? This is bad.
Being realistic.
Well, I'll go one worse on you.
You're on your we're gonna run the table train again.
Yeah, I know. Okay, well, let's calm down a little bit. They go to Cincinnati next year. They go next year, but next week after the Cleveland game. I think they could win that game, but I'm looking at it as a close loss. Let's say Bengals over Steelers in that one.
Yeah, I think both Cincinnati games are winnable, but I think especially in Cincinnati, I think the Bengals will take this one in a close one, but Bengals will take it.
Here's where it gets scary again. I mean, where are these trap games? I mean, they host Arizona, and I know sometimes Steelers lose these games. You're like, how the heck did they lose it? I mean, unless Josh Dobbs wants to prove something and go in and beat Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh wins by 2 touchdowns at least.
Yeah, that's going to be an ugly one. The Steelers should win that easily.
Man, here's the other tough one. I know New England came in to beat Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh this year. What has New England done to make you more excited about New England? I don't know. I just think the Steelers have more talent. I mean, it's Belichick. Maybe they win by 1 score, but it's at home at night. Usually the Steelers do well in those games. I'd say the Steelers win.
Yeah, I think it'll be maybe a 1 touchdown, but I think the Steelers will take this one as well.
Dude, I got them 11-2. I got to calm down here. All right. Jeez. Okay, I hope the heck this doesn't happen. Sometimes, and again, it's not the Tomlin special, but there's games that you're kind of like, why did they lose this game? Indianapolis, I know Jonathan Taylor's probably going to get traded. I think that's going to be that pesky game that Indianapolis somehow pulls out. I say Colts an upset by one score here.
Okay. I think it's going to be an uglier game than we want it to be, but I feel like we now have a core on this team that didn't live through the Tomlin special era. So I think while it might be closer than we want, I think the Steelers will still get the job done.
All right. I still got them 11-3, which is scary. You're right. There is a 3-game stretch. This looks like a national TV game, Paul. On the 23rd. Is that a Saturday, if I remember right? Or maybe it's a Sunday.
I think it's a Saturday.
Yeah, they've got it for NBC, so I'm assuming it's like one game across the country. Okay, this is where I'm going to get really, really controversial. I think you can make an argument that right now the Steelers have a deeper team than the Bengals. I think there's going to be. Oh, geez. I think they lose a home to Cincinnati. I hate saying that, but I mean they're 11-3. They're going to be 14-3 if I'm not careful here. I'll put it this way: they lose at home to Cincinnati, but there have been games in the Steelers' schedule before where they've lost the team in the regular season, and then they come back and beat them in the playoffs. I gotta calm down, or I'm going. I wasn't saying 17. They lose to Cincinnati. I hate saying that, but I think they do.
I struggle to do this because I had them losing to Cincinnati in week 12, but I think at week 16 the division is going to be up for grabs, and I think the Bengals' experience in pressure games is going to just put them over the edge enough to win another close one.
Okay. I hate to say this, to go to Seattle. Man, West Coast games could be tough on anybody, including the Steelers. Let's assume that Geno Smith is still okay. I don't know if he is or not. Seattle sneaks away with this one. And I think we start to freak out because this will be their third loss in a row.
Well, depending on whose predictions you're following.
Right. Assuming you're following mine, which why would you? Do you have Pittsburgh beating Seattle?
No, I have the Seahawks taking it by like a point. It's gonna be one of those games that could go either way, and it like comes down to who has the ball last kind of situations.
Okay, so I got them losing 3 in a row. You got them losing 2 in a row. We're going to be a little bit freaked out. I'm assuming, like, you got them 10-6 right now. I got them 11-5. I would think there would be either clinch the playoff spot or be definitely in the mix. Baltimore, I originally had them losing the Baltimore game. I think they just come back and win. I think Baltimore's funny. Even if they're better this year, Baltimore's having a hard time beating Pittsburgh. I know they beat Pittsburgh last year once, but that, Pickett was out for most of the game. Mitch Trubisky, who was a turnover machine, it just wasn't good. I say the Steelers win this by a score.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those ones where at this point either we've clinched the playoffs or the division has been decided, and this could be a game that Trubisky starts. It's going to be January 7th. It's going to be butt cold. It's going to be sloppy. But this will be the one that the Steelers still pull off by a field goal.
Okay. So you got Steelers 11-6. I got them 12-5. Who knows if that's going to win you a division or not? I don't know. I mean, the AFC North's going to be tough. How far? I know it's a hard. Where do you think they end up in the playoffs? We'll put it that way. When do they lose in the playoffs, in your opinion?
See that for me, that's going to come down to who they're playing. Because I mean, even going through this, we look at the 49ers, who could be a Super Bowl contender, and like I think we're going to take it. And then we look at the Colts, and we're like, I don't know. If they start off against the Chiefs, I don't like that matchup. If they start off against the Bengals, I feel better about that matchup. If they start off against the Jets, I might feel better than if they start off against, I don't know, Denver. So it's for me, it's really going to depend on who they start off with.
Yeah, I would say if their defense plays as well as we think they can, and there's no major injuries, my fear with them getting the Super Bowl would be they would have to be like probably like the Chiefs, Bills, and like a team like the Bengals. I think they're going to be good enough where they can surprise one, maybe two teams. To beat three gray offense like that in a row might be a little bit of a tall task.
Yeah.
I think they could do it for one team. I would say to get knocked out. And you're right, Paul. Who knows? If they got the Chiefs in the first round, they may not make it past the Chiefs. Chiefs are tougher. But I would say, however it happens, they get knocked out in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right. So that's our picks for the year. Paul, 12-5. I'm feeling really rough.
You won't be far off this time. You're kind of, your optimism kind of has bitten you the past 2 years, but I think you'll be a little closer this year.
I always want to do the Steelers podcast, but dude, if they're 1-6, I don't know, man. I mean, we'll still do the podcast. We'll probably just more make fun of it. Like, we won't pretend that we're knowledgeable. Maybe we'll just get it that part. We'll just make fun of the pop culture of it all. All right. Well, thanks for checking out our Steelers show. We're looking forward to the game this year. Oh, I love the games. I can't talk. I'm a little tired right now, but yeah, we're looking forward to the games. I don't know if we're going to do anything special this year. We get tied up during the weekends, but each week we'll come back and review the previous game and try to look forward to the next game. Stay tuned. We're going to do probably a shorter version of the extended show, but check us out there and let us know what you think. Have a great night, everybody.